What's up, SE Nation? Welcome back to another video. So, I came across a post on LinkedIn. It's about negotiating a salary, although, in the way I think of it, negotiating anything is somewhat similar. And I tried very hard to agree with some things. So, I mostly disagree with this post. Now, I need to preface this, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I've never met this person. This is the first post I've ever seen of hers. She seems fairly famous on LinkedIn with 293 comments and 100 reposts, which is kind of why I decided, you know what? Maybe I should talk about this because I think it's bad information. So let's dig into this. The setup is you just got a job offer, but the salary is insultingly low. The worst move is accepting it immediately. The second worst is rejecting it outright. Instead, here's how to negotiate with confidence. The reason I think this is wrong is negotiation does not happen when you get the offer. The negotiation starts before you even talk to the recruiter. When we're talking about a job, especially for solution engineers. If we're talking about an opportunity, like a deal you're trying to close, the negotiation starts from the first meeting that you meet the customer where you're showing your value. So if you're waiting to get the offer to say, you know what, I don't like this salary, that's too late. You've lost the deal. Like you're either accepting it or not. Are there things you can do? Potentially. I mean, you could follow what she's saying. I mean, if you're in the situation where you have not negotiated at all, and now you're in a position where you received an offer, you can follow these steps. I'm not against it. I'm just saying, start negotiating day one. So the way she frames it is, hey, start with gratitude, thank you for the offer. And there's a video, you can watch that as well. She says the exact same thing. Share something positive. I'm excited about the role in the journey. All right, fine. But before I address the low salary. Before I accept, I'd like to discuss salary and compensation. When you first meet the recruiter, and again, I'm talking specifically about SEs and sales, I think it's similar to any other job. But when you first meet the recruiter, they're going to ask you about the salary expectation. Most people tell you online, don't answer it. And I don't. What I say is, it's fairly early to tell what reasonable salary compensation is for this role. I will need to learn a lot more about it. I need to talk to the manager, yada yada. However, I do ask them, what is the salary range you usually offer for this role? And if they say it's between 100 and 130K, and for me that's insultingly low, then I don't continue with the job interview. Like, I'm done. If they tell me it's between 130 and 140, 160, and it's low but not insultingly low, I will then consider if I want to keep going with this conversation or not. And if they tell me it's between 160 and 180 and I'm okay with 180, I will say I'm looking for 190 or at least $200,000. Again, every time you answer a question, there's risk to it. So if I say I'm looking for $200,000 and they told me it's 180, then they might decide to not go with the conversation. If I'm okay with that, I'm okay with it. And one thing to add, I've added many things, I know. If you're negotiating, the best way to negotiate is when you're in a position of power. If the salary is insultingly low, but you don't have a job and you really need a job, there's not much room to negotiate. You can try, but you're risking losing the job. If you're interviewing from a position of power where you already have a job, you're happy with your job, you're okay staying at your job, then you can negotiate freely as much as you want. So that's the first mistake in this post. Again, it's a LinkedIn post. You can't really say everything. I would just want to, if I were to post this, I wanted to be clear that negotiation does not start when you get the offer. Also, another note, Generally speaking, you talk to the hiring manager. If you're an SE or a sales, the hiring manager will give you a heads up with what the offer is going to be before the recruiter sends it to you. So you're going to have a conversation right there as well. And specifically for SEs, they try to give you the best offer they can because they don't want to lose you. It's very hard to find SEs unless there's like 5 other SEs that are just as good and they're willing to take less. So the second mistake I see here in the LinkedIn post, whatever that's worth, is address the low salary, great. Reinforce achievement, great. Reiterate market value. She's talking too much. The less you talk when it comes to negotiation, the better. Also, we're talking about market value somewhere here. Oh, market value. So what I consider to be market value for my skills and experience. So obviously you have to know what your market value is, right? Which means you've talked to other people within the industry, within the realm. You know how much they get paid. You know how much certifications you need to get paid that much. Generally speaking, I wouldn't say, oh, my market value is X. They're evaluating your market value at something else. So again, throughout the conversation ahead of time, you're gauging what the salary compensation is. When you got here, talking about market value is not going to change anything because they're going to tell you, I can find someone who's much cheaper than what you're asking. I agree with this. It's not always about money. It's definitely not always about money. Having the right manager, having opportunity to grow, if that's what you want, having the flexibility, whatever. I agree with everything she says here. But one thing she says down here, if they don't budge on salary, don't walk away just yet. Ask if there's room for performance-based raise in 6 months. I disagree with that. That means you're accepting a job based on a promise, which may or may not come. Things happen. If you ask the hiring manager, hey, if I do well, can I get a raise in 6 months? And the manager leaves in 3 months, what's going to happen then? Also, if you were to do this, you would really have to define what performance based is. What is the performance that you need to reach to get a raise? Also, what would that raise be? Because they can say, oh, yeah, sure, we can get a 6 months performance based raise, and it'll be 1%. That's not really much. You can negotiate on bonuses, equity, PTOs, whatever. Bottom line, all this to say is, if you're going to negotiate, start negotiating day one. Don't wait till the offer. Build a relationship with the manager. Show your value. Don't talk about, oh, my market value is X. Show your value. How do you show your value? By talking about how you've helped the previous companies that you've worked for improve, benefit, how much money you made them, how much money you saved them. All that will dictate your market value. Saying my market value is X doesn't mean it's actually X. Someone senior to you could be at X. You might be at Z or Z for my American friends. That's all I wanted to say. Just start negotiating early. And you don't have to negotiation. There isn't a set time for negotiation. Every time you open your mouth, you're adding value or removing value. I say that all the time. I will continue to say that. So make sure you're showing your value, not telling your value. I think I can leave with that. Get back to work. Peace.